What is a police community support officer? Well, a police community support officer is someone who desperately wanted to be a proper police officer, but they couldn't quite make it, so they settled for second place. They're an embarrassment to their uniform and the force that they serve, and also a horrific drain on public resources. Oh, alright, I'm just kidding. They're not. What a community support officer is it was a role that was came into being around 2003. I happen to know that because that's when I joined the police and they were very new at the time. The idea being that, well, first, a quick bit of context. 2003, the UK, like a lot of the world, was doing very well economically. And for the first time in ages, it felt like there was a bit of spare money going around, and certainly the police forces were doing well in terms of growing their staff, getting given bigger budgets, and therefore being able to experiment with different things. So it was decided that these community support officers would be brought in using some of that money, and they were an attempt to do a little bit of the foot patrol, officer walking the beat type policing that had been missing in the UK for quite a long time, and a certain section of society, or perhaps just the media, I don't know, you certainly used to hear people saying that they were sorely missed, that there was something very nice about having a local Bobby on the beat. Personally, I get that from a sort of emotional point of view. I'm not sure that it really makes that much sense operationally. But there are certainly arguments in favour of having someone out and about rather than just racing around in a car. It certainly feels nicer, I think, for the members of the public who bump into them. Although one of the downsides is that you put one or two people out there in a patch consisting of several thousand households, and you're not actually going to bump into them very often. Speaking for myself, given that they've been in existence for 17 years now, I have seen a police community support officer just walking around in public like a handful of times in 17 years. Anyway, whatever, I digress. I don't have the time to talk about all this stuff at the moment. I'm just talking about what they are. So they are supposed to just walk around. They don't have anything like the same powers as a police officer. I believe they've got limited powers to detain people. You know what? I don't actually know what else. They can't do a lot in that kind of a way, but they can do a lot in the sense that they can walk around, see what's going on the ground, talk to people, provide them with information and reassurance, and generally keep an eye on the local rapscallions. The only other thing that's worth saying, I think, if I'm not going to ramble on too much, is that at the time when I joined the police and the role was new, there was obviously just a huge influx of people doing it because there were thousands of positions available, and so there was no particular pattern to who applied or what their background was or what they did next. But I think it's correct to say in general, since a couple of years after that it is frequently now used as a kind of informal, or maybe in some forces semi-formal path to becoming a police officer. Certainly as the years went by after their instantiation into the forces that I worked in, it became more normal for new response team officers to have already got some experience as a community support officer.